In this video, how to download and install Visual Studio Code and Node.js 16, Angular CLI 13, and Git 2.35.1. Open your favorite browser and then search for vscode. The first link which will appear here will be from visualstudio.com. I'm going to just click on this link, and once this visualstudio.com website is open, you can see on the top and center download button. Here you can see various operating system stable version available. Choose your operating system. Click on this download for Windows button and wait for a few seconds. Visual Studio Code downloaded. I'm going to click on the executable file, and I will just minimize my browser. You can see the Visual Studio Code installer has been started, and after a few seconds you will be able to see this kind of interface, and here you can see the license agreement. Read the license agreement and accept license agreement. Click Next. VS Code installation location. By default disk C. If you need to change, select location or click Next. Create Start menu folder. By default Visual Studio Code. If you don't need, click the checkbox. Click Next. Select additional tasks. If you need, add this. Create a desktop icon. Click Add Open with Code Action to Windows Explorer File Context menu and Directory Context menu. Add to Path variable. Register code as an editor. Click Next. Ready to install and review the changes. Click on Install. I can see that the installation is completed. Click Finish and I can see Visual Studio Code icon on my desktop. Check Visual Studio Code installed or not. Open command prompt, type code version. Visual Studio Code installed. The Visual Studio Code version has displayed here. Type exit command for exit command prompt. Again, open your favorite browser and then search for Node.js. The first link which will appear here will be from nodejs.org. I'm going to just click on this link, and once this Node.js website is open, you can see there are two versions of Node.js. One is NTS, which is long-term supported version, and another one is current release version. So it is recommended for most users to download LTS because it is a stable version of Node.js. Click on this LTS download button and wait for a few seconds. Node.js downloaded. I'm going to click on the executable file, and I will just minimize my browser, and you can see the Node.js installer has been started, and after a few seconds you will be able to see this kind of interface. Node.js setup wizard is open. Click Next. Here you can see end user license agreement. Read the license agreement and accept license agreement. Click Next. Node.js installation location. By default disk C. If you need to change, select location or click Next. In this custom setup, leave by default. Click Next. Tools for native module. If you need this, click the checkbox and it will automatically install necessary tools. Click Next. Ready to install Node.js. Click on Install. I can see that the installation is completed. Click Finish. Press any key for install additional tools for Node.js. Check Node.js installed or not. Open command prompt and type node v. Node.js version has displayed here the Node.js installed. Type exit command for exit command prompt. Double-click to open the Visual Studio Code. Here you can see various options to create a folder. Open folder. Choose the location. Here create a folder name Angular. You can create whatever name it may. You can see the terminal here. And click New Terminal. Type npm install G. This G represents that Angular CLI will be installed globally. Then type that Angular CLI. At latest, the latest version of the Angular CLI. Hit enter. And wait for the terminal to install Angular CLI in your system. Angular CLI means command line interface, which gives various commands to manipulate Angular code in your system. Angular CLI is installed. You can see here that it has added some packages. So now you can use various Angular commands to create projects and create and manipulate it. Create an Angular project, type this command npx ngnew. And the project name, so I'll give the name to the project as angularapp. When you hit enter typing this command, the terminal will ask you few questions. Ng stands for next generation, as Angular is the next generation of HTML. First question will ask, would you like to add Angular routing? You need routing module, type Y for yes. If you don't need, type N for no. Next question, which style sheet format would you like to use? Here I'll be using CSS. You can select with various style sheet formats. Here npm initialized. And wait for 5 to 10 minutes. It will take some times. Packages installed successfully. Here you can see the Angular app created successfully by Angular CLI. These are the node modules we installed. Open src. Then open app. Here you can see default app component files. Components are the main building block for Angular applications. Each component consists of an HTML template that declares what renders on the page, a TypeScript class that defines behavior, a CSS selector that defines how the component is used in a template. @ng module takes a metadata object that tells Angular how to compile and launch the application. Imports the browser module that this and every application needs to run in a browser. AppRouting.module is file imports router module and routes so the application can have routing functionality. Spec.ts file is used for unit testing of your application. Using the terminal, here you can just type npx ngserve. npx is a tool to execute one command without that need to permanently install the package. Installing globally without the need of sudo can be made using nvm having several node version in the home directory. When you use the ngserve command to build an application and serve it locally, the server automatically rebuilds the application and reloads the page when you change any of the source files. package.json you can see ng start command. You can easily run scripts using npm by adding them to the scripts field in package. Run npm run to see available scripts. Click enter button. ngserve command not working. It shows error because we are not changing the directory. Use the cd command to move from your present directory to another directory. Type cd angularapp for changing directory. This project will be compiled, so initially we have only one component. Angular is made up of the components. If I change something and save it once, it recompiles again automatically and serves it on the browser. It has been compiled successfully. Open your favorite browser, copy and paste this link, or using Ctrl+click. You can see this is the code which is already written in the project. This comes by default. Here you can create component, an Angular material and add dependency and run the project, test the project. Angular CLI documentation available, you can refer that. If you want to quit ngserve, you should use Ctrl+C instead, in which will also release the 4200 port. We can forcefully kill the port by following command. It will ask, would you like to terminate the batch? Option to terminate the batch with either a Y for yes or N for no option. You need to give yes. Now close everything which other files are opened. Exit from Visual Studio Code. We can see Angular folder and angularapp. Here you can see files inside angularapp. Check Angular installed or not using command prompt. Open command prompt and type ng version. Angular CLI loading. Angular version has displayed here, version 13.2.5. and Node version 16.14.0, npm version 8.5.1. The Angular successfully installed. Type exit command for exit command prompt. Again open your favorite browser and then search for GitHub. The first link which will appear here will be from github.com. I'm going to just click on this link, and once this github.com website is open, you can see on the top sign in and sign up button. If you already have a GitHub account, using this sign in button, and enter the username and password. If you don't already have a GitHub account, you may need to register for a new GitHub account, using this sign up button. Enter your email and click to continue. Create a strong password and click to continue. Enter the new username and check the availability of username. Click continue. Would you like to receive product updates and announcements via email? Choose your option and click to continue. Click on Create Account. You have received verification code via email. Enter the launch code. Few steps to create repository. GitHub is a cloud-based version control and source code management website. If we want to add your project into the repository, first you need to create new repository. Click on Create Repository. Here you need to enter the name of the repository, and it displays the availability of repository name. Here I am choosing the repository name as Angular. Two types of visibility given here. One is public, it can be viewed by anyone, and another one is private, it can be viewed by only by you. Click to create repository. The repository successfully created. Angular repository, link given here, and you can see the commands for uploading code through remote repository. Minimize the tab and open Visual Studio Code. Open the source control, initialize the repository. First we need to download and install the Git. Click on the download Git for Windows, it will redirect to the Git website. Website is open. You can see a standalone installer and portable installer file for 32-bit and 64-bit available. I am going to install 64-bit standalone installer. Click on this 64-bit Git for Windows Setup button and wait for a few seconds. Git downloaded. I'm going to click on the executable file. And I will just minimize my browser, and you can see the Git installer has been started, and after a few seconds you will be able to see this kind of interface. Read the license agreement and terms and conditions. Click Next. Git installation location by default disk C. If you need to change, select location or click Next. Select components, leave by default. If you need add, click the checkbox to add. Click Next. Create start menu folder by default name as Git. If you don't need, click the checkbox. Use Vim, default Git editor. Click Next. Select Let Git decide. Click Next. Select Git from the command line and also from third-party software. Select bundled OpenSSH. Click Next. Select use the OpenSSL library. Click Next. Select checkout Windows style, commit Unix style, line endings. Click Next. Use minttty, the default terminal of MSYS2. Click Next. Select default fast forward or merge. Click Next. Select Git credential manager. Click Next. Select enable file system caching. Click Next. Ready to install, then click on Install. Wait for a few seconds. Click Finish. It will redirect it to the Git notes. You can refer this documentation and close the tab. Double-click to open Visual Studio Code. Using this option, you can initialize the repository. You can see the terminal here. And click New Terminal. Type git init for initialized empty Git repository. Here you can see all files are under changes in Git. Git add command is used to add file contents to the index, staging area. Type add dot. The current content of the working tree to the staging area. It also prepares the staged content for the next commit. Here you can see staged changes and minimize it. Next step, git commit as a first commit, copy the command. Here you can paste and run the command. Or enter the commit name whatever you need, and click to create a new commit. Next step, to rename Git branch, copy the command. Paste the command and click enter. Copy the remote repository command. Here you can paste the remote repository command. Last step, to copy the push command to upload local repository content to a remote repository. Here you can paste the push command. Here you need to connect the GitHub with Visual Studio Code. Here you can choose the sign in with your browser. Here you can see authorize Git Credential Manager. Review the list and give authorize the Git Credential Manager. Authentication successful. Close the tab. Check the files are uploaded or not. Here you can see files are successfully uploaded into remote repository. Thank you for watching this video.